Let us stand together.
Yeah. We cry from together. And the way on them like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth, I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. We cry from together. And the way on them like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth, I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. We cry from together. And the way on them like they don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society,
see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try, they'll make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time has come where we must stand united in order to save our country. Yes, my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country. Let us stand together.
Yeah. The cry from the ghettos and the way on them like they don't care about somebody now. Make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode our democracy? This is a democratic society, and therefore every creed and race must find an equal place.
Yeah, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try, make the vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When the youth them know we gotta try.
So I am calling on every youth. I am calling on every citizen. Let us unite and save Trinidad and Tobago. For far too long we have been exploited. For far too long we have been neglected. The time
30th of January. I am at the movie town. Just exited the banquet and conference center, and I am displaying my achievements. Distinction in legal studies, and this is just the beginning. There's a lot more to come. I want to thank all those who have supported me, who have stand by my side with this intense study. And as I move on, presently I am also doing my diploma in project management. And as I go forward, as a matter of fact, I'm so happy at this point in time that words cannot express. So thank you, yours truly, Victor Roberts, the people's fighter.
Of course, today being Sunday is as good as any other Sunday. I want to welcome you first of all. Welcome to Facts Not Fiction. We welcome you locally, regionally, and also internationally. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I was looking and storming through the Daily Express, something that I do at times, even though I'm turned off by these daily newspaper. I would expect a newspaper to be independent in their judgment and Moreover, I will expect a newspaper to print the truth, something that we cannot get from these dailies. But I have news for you. And the news that I have for you, ladies and gentlemen, is what you would not get from these mainstream media houses. You would be able to get from the Dogla report. You see, the Dogla report, ladies and gentlemen, it is designed to bring the truth so that you can understand, so that you could know what is happening in our society in every aspect, in sport, in politics, a matter of fact, in real life. You can get all your information from the Dogla report. Just as you get from Dogla radio and Dogla politics and facts, not fiction, and the Monday night forum and the Sunday morning press conferences and Fire Friday, all these platforms, they are designed to bring you truth, to bring you facts, and facts only. So I was looking at this daily newspaper, page 4 of the Express, Thursday the 20th of January 2022. Business leaders not called to boycott is the headline. And this is from Anand Ramdas. So let's go through this a little bit. It started by saying, business leaders have criticized opposition Senator Jolene John for her statement that the United National Congress will lead a boycott of their businesses should they impose mandatory vaccination for workers. It further states, Downtown Owner and Merchant Association DOMA President Gregory Aboud, President of the Shagonas Chamber CCIC Rishi Suknanan, and President of the San Juan Business Association SJBA Jason Roach, told the Express yesterday that the opposition should be educating people and encouraging them to get vaccinated. Let's go on. But Aboud said the private sector does not usually engage with politicians when they are seeking publicity, and DOMA would not want to engage the potential for any boycott. We have a picture of this man they call Gregory Aboud anywhere there? And the first question I want to ask, ladies and gentlemen, is it DOMA or DOMA? Because when you hear statements from Aboud, who is the president of that organization, the Downtown Merchants Association, whether it's DOMA or DOMA, which I prefer the latter. And he is saying that the private sector does not usually engage in persons who seeking publicity. I want to tell Gregory Aboud that he fast and out of place. And you should be very, very much appreciative of my language, that you are fast and out of place. Jolene John, the Honorable Senator, a veteran politician, one who do what you don't, a lady who stand for the poor, the oppressed, the downtrodden, and all those in society, including you. Because while you may very well be drinking from that P&M cup and belching that P&M juice and uttering this utmost rubbish about politicians looking for publicity, you should be the last to speak. I heard you, Gregory Aboud, just recently speaking on a social media platform about this government and the procurement legislation that, to the best of my knowledge, that you did not sign the petition when it was sent to you by the same Jolene John and the UNC. I heard you speaking about the city collapse and nobody safe in the city, and the reason why there are no procurement legislation is because the policy makers, those in government, as to my words, would not have the procurement legislation with all its teeth. I heard you saying, Mr. Aboud, that those politicians do not want to be accountable. I hear you speak about a train that you said that some union leader said to you that Eric Williams said, shut the damn thing down and I will show them who is boss. But today, because the opposition is saying that we would not support mandatory vaccination, you are speaking about my senator looking for publicity. Boy, Gregory Aboud, don't be fast and out of place. But let me go on. Let me go on a little further. The paper said, as regarded the strategy, I personally think, meaning him, personally think it is not an appealing comment to make. He said, that's him, the larger issue is that many commentators are making the point that people should have the right to choose. Aboud said, in many cases, they have not indicated whether they themselves are vaccinated or not, but they are arguing vociferously that people should have the right to choose. That big word vociferously simply means in a loud and forceful manner. You know, I don't like to pass these big words without bringing the meaning to you, because when I speak, I need the boy and girl on the street to understand. Aboud saying that while they are speaking, They are not saying whether they are vaccinated or not. That is not your business, boy. That is not your business. Whether somebody vaccinated or not in this country, Gregory Aboud, that's not your business. Know your place. Who you feel you're talking to? You feel you're talking to your cahoots. You feel you're talking to Rowley. You feel you're talking to PNM members. That who you feel you're talking to? Know your place, boy. Know your place. And that is why I will always say, I have no respect for all you. Because what all you believe that because all you will have a few cents more than anybody else, that all you important? To Victor Roberts, all you is not important. You know why? Because a day is coming that your money and you does perish. When death knock on your door, you could have how much money you want. You could have how much property you want. That gone, boy. Know your place. Who you feel you talking to. Let us go on. He said, that argument, what they are in fact doing is creating hesitation amongst the public about vaccination. You see what I tell you these idiots? You see what I tell you, why I tell you they are idiots? Let me tell you something. Let me read that out further. They are not saying to people, we recognize your right to choose, but we recommend that you get vaccinated, he said. Blatant liar. Blatant, dirty, nasty liar. I will tell you, Aboud. You see, that is a PNM statement, you know. That is a Balize Jew statement. Because I will tell you that Senator Jolene John, the Honorable, Dr. Tim Gopi Singh, Dr. Lakram Bodo, Dr. Munilal, MP Dave Tanku, Anita Haynes, and every other UNC MP and senator state plainly that the UNC, that we are pro-vaccine, but vaccination must be mandatory. That is what all you want. That is what all you want. We are saying that we are pro-vaccine, but all you are saying that vaccination must be mandatory. Well, let me tell you the UNC position, as the Honorable Senator rightly said. All you can't get us to say what all you want. We're not speaking the language that all you want us to speak. The UNC position is that they are supporting vaccination. They are also asking people to get vaccinated. But they are also saying that vaccination must be choice. You hear what I'm saying to you, Aboud? The UNC, every one of these senators and members of parliament call and ask on numerous platforms, on Monday Night Forum, on press conference, in media release, on papers, more and more and more. They are advocating for people to be vaccinated. But the UNC make it quite clear that they will not support mandatory vaccination. What about that all you can understand? What about that all you can understand? What all you can understand, boy? You see, when all you tie up with this PNM liquid, don't matter what you want to say, it's only PNM juice that's come out your mouth. I sure that when someone you go to urinate, all you smelling is bodies of water. All you smelling is bodies of water. When you go to defecate, all the smell you're getting in the back there is bodies. You know why? Because every single one are those PNM supporters will defecate, pee, spit, and everything going to be coming out of their bodies will be that of Balize. And in this case, it is no different. But let's move on. He said they are not going the extra distance to point out that vaccinated people are not dying, or the death rate among vaccinated people is less than 5% of the infected population. Really? Aboud, really? Where's your science? Where's your data? Who gave you that statistics? Who gave you that statistic? Where science? Where data? Where the evidence? We had to believe it because you said that. We had to believe it because all your dumb head minister of health say that. We had to say it. We had to believe it because the prime minister said that. We had to believe it because the prime minister put a 5-man team himself to investigate himself, to bring back information for himself, to reveal to the public what himself say. So your science, down in Doma or Doma, your science is that vaccinated people, they are not dying in the hospital. It's the unvaccinated. Right? That is your science. Aboud, take that science. You see that science? Take that science, Aboud, and see how far up your nose hole you could push that science. Up your nose hole, you put that science. But let's continue. The papers further state, they are not saying that you should have the right to choose, but keep in mind, the hospital cannot admit you and are overwhelmed, he said. Aboud said in his businesses, oh, so you have more than one, you have plenty businesses, all right. 85% vaccination has been achieved, adding it was done by education and example. So you educate your workers and you vaccinate 80% or 85% of your workers. I want to ask your workers and them today to call my number 3164468, and I want them to call me and tell me how many of them went because of your education to get vaccinated. I would like them to tell me. I would like them to tell me the method you use, because you see, if you were able to get 85% of your businesses vaccinated, then you have to help us remove Keith Rowley. It shows that you are quite more competent than Keith Rowley. It shows that you have the education that this country need in order to be vaccinated. So let's stand together and move Keith Rowley. You see, Aboud, all year, I fed up with the games all they like to play. I fed up with the games. You see, when things ain't going in all your favor, all you jump up and talk about procurement and talk about the city dead and talk about nobody safe in the city. But all of a sudden, it seems as though 2 weeks pass, the city get back alive, everybody safe, and business as usual. Business as usual. So it's either Doma or Doma.
too much of games, but you see, that will always happen when you have a mental in your head that always trigger the juice to drip in your brain. You see, I would expect, before I go there, because there's some more of them I have to deal with. So let me read on. Let me go a little further. So he said, Aboud added that he is fully vaccinated. Very good, Aboud. Very good. Sukai said, the proposition / threat to boycott private businesses at an already economically fragile time is very irresponsible. That's Sukai talking now. So we're going and see if he also have Balize juice, or if he speaking from an independent standpoint. So we're going to see if he have Balize juice, or if he speaking from an independent standpoint. So let's go on. He said, if this action materialize, it would be disastrous to Trinidad and Tobago economy. Sukai, I want to ask you something here today. But I'll come back to that. Let me read a little more. Furthermore, such a statement overlooked the fact that the public sector, though important and critical, does not provide all the goods and services required to keep the country running, he said. He said the private sector is still reeling from the shock of the pandemic. Hold up, Sukai. So let me go back up the road first and I'm coming back here. Let me go back up the road first and I will come back here. So he said if this action materialized, it would be disastrous to the Trinidad and Tobago economy. That word disastrous simply means causing great damage to the economy. Sukai, I want you to tell me, you see, you're looking like a young fella. I would expect somebody in your caliber to have some good education, to be brilliant upstairs here, and not allowing your judgment to be clouded by those who probably assist some of the businesses that you in charge of in your chamber. I will expect you to be a vibrant individual, having plans, able to foresee things, able to analyze what is good from what is bad, able to analyze when an economy is up and running or when policies kill an economy. I would expect you to be able to differentiate the difference between all that. So you are saying that if the boycott take place, then that will be disastrous for the economy. I want to ask you, sir, what is the state of the economy? Has this economy shown any signs of growth between 2015 and now? What policies were implemented to accelerate this economy? What policies was brought by this government to attract foreign investors? A matter of fact, what policies that this government put in place to develop domestic investment in this country, which is of utmost importance to boost and to have the economy up and running. A matter of fact, what policies has the Keith Rowley administration brought to the table to stabilize this economy under the pandemic? Give me one. Just give me one, sir. That's all I ask it. Just give me one policy. Let me go down to deal with the latter. He said the private sector is still reeling from the shock of the pandemic, and despite having the majority of its employees vaccinated, listen your words, you know. He said the private sector is still reeling from the shock of the pandemic, and despite having the majority of its employees vaccinated, the CCIC members company are upward of 90% vaccinated. Some businesses still cannot open or operate. Mr. Sukai, you believe that vaccination, it is responsible for your business, your Burgess's business not opening? Mr. Sukai, you believe that a lack of vaccination thereof is what is responsible for over 600 businesses closed and cannot ever reopen? Mr. Sukai, I want to ask you today, because you're looking brilliant, but my grandmother always said looks is deceiving. I want to ask you today, sir, is the unvaccinated people in this country, is the vaccinated people in this country, the two sets of people in terms of vax and unvax, are you saying that these are the ones responsible for your Burgesses, for your people, businesses starving, your people, businesses closed down, your people, businesses suffering, your people, businesses cannot function? Is that what you are saying to us, sir? Because if that is what you are saying to us today, Mr. Sukai, you open your mouth and say nothing. A matter of fact, what is coming out from your mouth is utmost rubbish. I want to say to you today, sir, that the reason for your businesses cannot open the doors, for your businesses suffering, for your businesses cannot make money, it is simply because the policies of Keith Christopher Rowley government, the policies that he has brought to the table, it is what have this country suffering today. I want to tell you, sir, that before the pandemic, before 2020, this country was heading down full throttle down the precipice. The pandemic just exposes the incompetence of this Keith Rowley administration. You see, we must be fair in this country. We must be open in this country. We must speak without fear and without favor. We must call a spade and call a latrine a latrine. Right, Fitzgerald Hines? Hines, we must call, take back that. Sukai, we must call a spade. And Hines, we must call a latrine a latrine. When you have individuals who cannot perform, who is incompetent, who do not have vision in ministry, looking after the affairs of a country, what do you expect to happen under those conditions? When you have a prime minister, and that prime minister does not understand his role and responsibility, when his brain is lacking oxygen and cannot perform to identify policies to move your country forward, what do you expect, Sukai? When you have ministers of government, and these ministers are only concerned about their back pockets, their front pockets, their side pockets, and in some case studying to fill their fobs with the taxpayers' dollar, what do you expect? When we have people like you and Gregory Aboud and Roach, Jason Roach, who will not stand up and tell the government where they are going wrong, what do you expect? When we have in this country, ladies and gentlemen, trade unions, the IRO, chambers of commerce, and members of parliament who sits in the cabinet and allow the government to escape with murder, what do you expect in society? When I hear Gregory Aboud speaks of the city not being safe, I want to ask Gregory Aboud today, what is his contribution in order to make the city safe? Would your contribution be sitting and sucking Balize juice? Would a long Balize pedicule put the policies in place to rid the city of its so many problems? We have had in the city the vagrant populations, the drainage problems, every other problem that this government refused to address. And you, Gregory Aboud, have the audacity to speak of Jolene John comment. Y'all are simply puppets in the city. A matter of fact, y'all are wealthy puppets. But money cannot buy love. Money cannot buy loyalty with Victor Roberts. But it seems as though that when folks collect from this government, cat does eat the tongue. I have seen Doma, the Shagona's Chamber of Commerce, the Archbishop, the IRO, the trade unions. I have seen every one of these institutions speak against the partnership from 2010 to 2015, while the partnership was doing a whole lot for this country. I have seen this Keith Rowley administration come into power and destroy every institution that was up and running, that was built by Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And because of this wickedness that they call race in this country, all you is as dumb and dotish as ever. I have seen that this Keith Rowley administration, that they have destroyed one of the most, take back that, they have destroyed the most powerful union in this country. The most powerful union, Keith Rowley government put them to sleep. The religious organizations, those who ought to be the spokesman for the Creator while they are on earth. We have seen that the love of money have silenced the IRO. The inter-religious organization, they too are dead. They are asleep. Money, the love of it, is what the book says that destroys. The love of it is the seed of every evil. I have seen pastors and leaders in church who I, Victor Roberts, had once looked up to and hold in high esteem. I have seen these great artificial men of God turn their backs not only on their flock, but they turn their backs on the Creator simply because some grant, some millions was given to them. No longer they stand and speak the truth. I have seen and heard some of them cry in the congregation, let us support the PNM. A matter of fact, I can safely say that there are a number of PNM churches in this country. No longer the church is the bride of the Creator. The churches has become the bride of a prime minister. Archbishops who are vocal, walking with their staff and their sword, they have since gone quiet. Imams who are charged with the responsibility to speak out against injustice and to speak out against oppression, they themselves have now become tyrants and oppressing their followers. I have seen temples, some of those who lead in the Remaniag, some of those who call themselves pundit, and they too have gone silent. Is it because they fear Keith Rowley more than they fear fear the Creator? Is it Keith Rowley have now becomes the God of the earth? What is wrong with you people? I am not here to ask you religious leaders to support the UNC. I am here to ask you to speak the truth. That is all I am asking. We are in a time where it seems as though that the fear for the Prime Minister, that fear is so great that you people afraid to speak out. Those of you who know God, those of you who know that when Jesus speak, he said all power and authority is given unto me in heaven and in earth. I have seen the weakness of men and women in a society that I have never seen in my 55 years on this earth. I have seen men and women no longer stand for what is right. It seems as though that they have given up their sanity in society. How come you and I as parents would allow our children to see the behavior and to see what we now condone in our society? How come would we allow our children to see that when Keith Rowley speaks that we tremble? How come would you allow your children to see that you have put Keith Rowley in the place of the Creator because you are fearful of him? What is happening to our country? Where are the voices of those who were so voiceless? What happened to the voices of those who we have held in high esteem? What happened to the voices? We often say that the voice of the people is the voice of the Creator. You often say that. But is it the Creator have now fallen asleep? Because if the voice of the people is the voice of the Creator and the people is not speaking out against injustice, the people are not speaking out against nepotism, the people, they are not speaking out against cronyism, the people, they are not speaking out about corruption, they are dumb. What is wrong with us? I am now seen in a society where the people's lives continue to deteriorate on a daily basis, and yet we will uphold a government that continue to punish us. We are seeing our brothers and sisters, they are at the worst in society. We are seeing where people cannot afford food, a basic necessity as food. We are seeing how people are struggling to put food on the table. We are seeing where children cannot go to school. Not because of the pandemic, but they cannot go to school because they cannot afford to get uniforms and sneakers and to get books and to get devices. Something that Kamla Prasad Bisesa had make it easy for you to achieve. I say to you on so many platforms that Kamla have to be the mother of this nation. Kamla have provided every aspect, especially as women in this country. You have benefited tremendously from the policies of Kamla Prasad Bisesa government. And today, Keith Rowley have since removed everything from your fingertip, and yet you are quiet. Yet you are quiet in this society. I said to you that I spoke to a young lady who was working CPEP. And when I asked that young lady, "Ma'am, how you making out?" Because she lost her job as a result of not taking the vaccine. And she said to me, it's a good thing that God has created her with certain parts of her body that she could now live and provide food for her children. That is what our mothers are coming to. How many more women have to prostitute themselves to put food on the table? How many more? How much more, ladies and gentlemen, would you take from a government who continue to oppress you? Our mothers now have to make themselves vulnerable. Vulnerable in this society. They have to sleep with Tom, Dick, and Harry. They have to sleep with Tom, Dick, and Harry to put a meal on the table. And we condone that. We condone that. Because we are not doing anything to remove our ladies out of that position. I don't know if you understand the pain that our mothers, that our parents have to go through in this society. I don't know if you understand the pain. I don't know if you understand what is happening. I don't know if you feel in the agony, the pain, the height of depression, the type of embarrassment that people now accept in order to put a meal on the table. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a game. This is reality. This is why I pour my heart out to you. This is why I highlight issues so that you could understand, not because you have food today, that you may not very well end up in the position of these women tomorrow. I have seen a type of evil in this society. I have seen a type of evil by these PNM MPs. An evil that I believe that the Creator will never forgive. We have seen MPs who sit within the cabinet. They speak amongst themselves about the evil, wicked behavior of the Prime Minister. They speak about all the different forms of nepotism between the Fantastic Seven. And they are so evil that they will never stand up and say, I am taking my leave from this government, not because of me, but because of my constituency. What kind of heart you MPs have? You have seen a few colored individuals who live higher and esteem themselves above you. You who have worked years within the PNM, you now sucks. You will suck. The Prime Minister sucks. The Prime Minister sucks. You will suck. Just to hold on to that position while your constituencies suffer. That is the epitome of evil. I have looked at people. I have looked at Miss Beckers. I have looked at Brian Manning. And I looked at those two individuals. When I know the cloth that Brian came from, and when I look at the pinnacle that Patrick Manning had placed Penelope Beckers on, I look at those two individuals on a daily basis. And I keep saying to myself, they are building that courage. That they are building that mind. That they are enlarging their fortitudes to get up, stand up, and say, enough is enough. This is not the material that we came from. This is not the material that we came out from. And therefore, we will stand amongst the rest and demonstrate our integrity and demonstrate our love for our constituency. And we will make that sacrifice. A word that comes with pain and emotion. A word that comes with tears. That we will make that sacrifice in the interest of our country first, and in the interest of our constituency, the people who have voted us to represent them, the people who have voted us to provide policies to not only to enrich their lives, but to improve the standard of living. We will take that decision based on country and people. Brian Manning and Penelope Beckers, I am calling you today. I am calling you today. I am not calling you in a negative way. I am not calling you in an embarrassing way. But I'm calling on you to demonstrate that inner conscience. The thing that pricks you. The things that bother you. The thing that cannot have you to sleep comfortable at night. I am calling on you to invoke that conscience and stand up and stand out amongst the rest and save this country from this evil, wicked government that now rules. I am depending on you. I am asking you to stand out. Stand out amongst the rest. stand out. If you do not want to stand out for the rest of this country, I am asking you to stand out for your African brothers and sisters. If you don't care about the rest, you see, I know in the PNM, they sow a certain seed. And when they sow that seed under Eric Williams, you used to watch in the direction of your people. But when that seed make root and becomes a tree, it bear fruit of racism. It bear fruit of hate. It bear fruit of pain. It bear fruit of neglect. It bear fruit of selfishness. It bear fruit of lack of representation. It bear fruit of turning your eyes against your own brothers and sisters. That is the fruit that the tree now bring forth. But you cannot vex, because from the beginning of creation, the Creator said that every tree will bring forth fruit of its kind. Why are we suffering in this country because of a selected few? Ladies and gentlemen, today I am going to make a call. I am going to make a call today. And while my Honorable Senator Jolene John categorically states that if the business sector impose mandatory vaccination on its workers, that we will boycott, which I fully endorse. But I, Victor Roberts, I am going to make a call today. And my call, Trinidad and Tobago, it is not the sentiment of the party that I belong to. This is my call as an activist in this country. You know, when I talk, these tutu paper like to run and say, Kamala, well, I put it all on notice. I want to let us say Kamala. And I will encourage my leader to put all in the court. Because this is my call. I am calling on this country today. I am calling on you, citizens, today. I am calling on you who lost loved ones because of the incompetence of Terence Yalsing. I am calling on you today who cannot provide food on your table. I am calling on you today who continue to live under the poverty line. I am calling on you today who cannot provide a device for your children to get education. I am calling on you today, all those of you from Petrotrin and Point Lisas who this government policies have sent you home. I am calling on trade unions who want to stand up, but your leader doesn't want to stand with you. I am calling you today. And I am calling you today, Trinidad and Tobago. Let us take a position and bring this country to a standstill, whereby we must call with one voice and ensure that this government call fresh elections. The time for games over. The time for going and stand up in a savannah, that over. The time for running all about like headless chicken, them days done. Now it's time for action. And the action that we must take is not the action with guns and bombs and cutlass. The action that we must take is to bring our community, bring our constituency to a standstill. Don't run out in no crowd for the police to brutalize you. The element of surprise does work for them. That could work for us too. We must bring our community, our constituency to a grinding halt. There lies the fight. There lies victory. Here is where the victory lies. Bring your constituency to a halt. No work, no drive, no nothing. Bring it to a halt. And until you're ready to bring it to a halt, is until you will continue to suffer under this government, because this government doesn't care nothing about you. And you know what I now decide, Archie? I decide that I'm bringing this life to an end right here. I want this to soak in on your brain. I want this to penetrate all your heart. I want it to sink within all your minds, to bring and to fix this problem in this country that we are now facing under this government, is to bring each and every constituency to a standstill. And when you decide to bring it to a standstill, then you can be prepared for a fresh election. I gone.
Let us stand together. Let us stand together.
We cry from the ghettos, and you wear on them like you don't care about somebody now. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try. Victor vibes. If you want to see a better life, yeah, share the light. When you use them, no, we gotta try.
So why we allow this administration to erode?
So today, ladies and gentlemen, being 30th of January, I am at the movie town, just exited the banquet and conference center, and I am displaying my achievements. Distinction in legal studies, and this is just the beginning. There's a lot more to come. I want to thank all those who have supported me, who have stand by my side with this intense study. And as I move on, presently I am also doing my diploma in project management. And as I go forward, as a matter of fact, I'm so happy at this point in time that words cannot express. So thank you, yours truly, Victor Roberts, the people's fighter.
Shed the light. When the youth them know we got to try.
And let us fight to defend our democracy in this country.